Episod ini ditajakan khas oleh Your Reno Works. Korang nak renovate rumah, baik HDB, condo, landed, commercial atau industrial, dorang pasti boleh bikin. Your Reno Works juga adalah HDB Licensed Renovation Contractor. Listeners Rebeat Podcast boleh mendapat diskaun sebanyak 10% off untuk dorang punya hacking dan painting services kalau korang menggunakan promo code REBUILD. Follow dorang di social media Your Reno Works atau WhatsApp dorang di 8383 7879. Your Reno Works can be trusted. And now, let's hear some rebuild stories. What is good, guys? Welcome back to Rebuild Podcast with me, Hassan Rahman. And also, kita masih bersama Kak Mia. So, kita nak jump straight to the point di mana you dah nak you dapat tahu you pregnant dulu
Yes.
Kira kalau dalam sel tu, I know the journey of being pregnant is not easy lah. Lagi you uncomfortable. So, ada special treatment untuk orang pregnant dekat dalam?
That time, I think tak adalah. Kita cuma dapat 4 piece of bread.
Additional?
Setakat itu je. Tapi minum air paip lah.
Sekira semua sama? Cuma roti dapat lebih 4 keping je?
And
then, tak ada macam tilam ke apa ke? Tak ada?
Itu kalau kita pergi sick bay, lagi berapa, I think lagi 2 minggu, sebulan atau 2 minggu, I forget lah, so long already. Kita turun sick bay.
Oh, maknanya dah nak give, dah nak,
dah nak deliver.
Dah nak, dia punya nak beranak tu lah.
Yeah.
But, means for the first semester, second semester, semua you tidur on the ground.
Yeah.
Perut besar macam gitu. Habis sakit pun macam tahan je.
Kalau sakit, kita just inform the officer, cookie yang kita nak pergi report sick lah. Tapi so far so good lah. Until sampai dah nak dekat sebulan, I think. Baru turun sick bay. Tapi duduk sick bay tu setakat apa tau, katil without the tilam lah.
Okay. Okay, then tadi in the previous episode you mentioned that you went for the test. Then the results tu keluar bila?
Result I think 1 week gitu lah. So while waiting kan, I still nak kena pergi matching lah.
Masih matching macam biasa juga?
Masih. Pasal result belum keluar.
So result came out as normal lah. Semua okay.
Yeah.
And then maybe you can share dengan kita towards the last semester tu. Semester kan orang panggil kan? Apa?
Yeah.
Okay, so bila you dah masuk sick bay tu, bila dah tahu you dah nak beranak, boleh tak you share dengan kita exactly, kalau you boleh ingat lah, experience you?
Okay, for me, that time kita first time kan, kita tak tahu yang kita nak terberanak ke apa. So, masa tu, on that day itself, right, sick bay tu yang tempat I duduk, ada kira cell search. So, ma'am suruh kita keluar semua. Then I told ma'am lah yang I punya perut sakit. Pasal sebelum tu I rasa nak terberak, tapi tak berak, just sakit perut macam gitu. So and I nampak masa tu bila I pakai panties kan, so I ada nampak macam color brown. So I just buat bodoh. Then time cell search tu I cakap dengan ma'am lah, ma'am, I feel like I'm going to give birth. I don't know lah, but my stomach so pain. Then ma'am cakap, okay, after search tu, ma'am cakap, kita masih nak kena squat tau. 1, 2, 3 tu squat down ni semua. So, that time I'm still okay. Sekali dah settle, I rasa sakit perut, I pergi toilet, then I feel ada discharge macam brown color. So, my stomach dah sakit sangat. Then I cakap dengan ma'am lah yang I rasa my stomach pain. Ma'am cakap ma'am jumpa staff nurse. Then staff nurse cakap masa I belum lagi.
Belum due lagi lah.
Then I cakap my stomach pain. Then I masuk diorang hantar masuk sick bay. Then I really cannot tahan. I pekik kat ma'am. I panggil ma'am lah. Then ma'am terpaksa bawa I pergi dispensary. Jumpa nurse. Then nurse cakap maybe dia dah nak itulah give birth. So, diorang tunggu ambulans datang ni semua, bawa bawa pergi sana but still belum
Bawa
apa-apa.
pergi mana?
Hospital.
So give birth tetap kat hospital?
Changi Hospital. Tapi
Okay.
kita ada tempat khas kita sendiri.
Okay. Macam mana tu keadaan tempat dia tu?
Macam biasa tempat ward untuk bersalin. Okay, that time I still belum lagi, diorang cakap belum buka lagi. Then kena tunggu, I think that time morning until afternoon. Tunggu, then I dah dia punya contraction tu dah datang. So contraction dia datang, then diorang dah pakaikan ni semua. Then dia cakap dah buka berapa cm, I forget lah that time.
Tapi tangan handcuff?
Masa tu, ya tangan handcuff.
So dalam kesakitan tu, you are being handcuffed
Ya.
to the bed tu lah? Okay.
So bila dia time nak give birth tu, masa tu officer yang hantar kita, escort kita, officer yang ada kat situ. So bila I give birth, I need something to hold on tau. Dah betul-betulnya sakit. Sekali I grab my officer punya tangan sampai dia cakap sakit. Then dia cakap, okay lah, tak apalah. Kau ambil aja tangan aku. So I genggam tangan dia sampai until I nak give birth tu, I pergi angkat my butt lah. So tu lah sampai terpotong. So diorang terpaksa jahit berapa jahitan lah. Because suppose kita kalau nak give birth, kita tak boleh angkat kitanya butt kan. So masa tu I angkat my butt, then kira dah terpotong sampai belakang. Then kena jahit lah.
Waktu-waktu dulu ada epidural? Waktu-waktu dulu ada epidural?
Tak, kita kalau normal birth, diorang tak bagi.
Memang tak boleh? Tak boleh request lah?
I request, tapi diorang cakap tak boleh. I still can give birth normal.
Tapi yang gas tu pun masih boleh pakai?
Boleh.
Tu boleh pakai lah?
Tu. As per normal lah, cuma kena handcuff aja. So kita, then after that, then I terpaksa pakai urine, yang pen tu kan. So I feel like sakit. Betul lah, masa tu I really macam, kita kat dalam tak macam kita bersalin tempat yang normal punya. Pasal apa kita kena, lepas bersalin aja diorang terpaksa hantar ward biasa, leg pun handcuff.
Dengan kaki sekali?
So I feel like macam, tak ada macam, that first pengalaman I need to went through all that like really like hell lah. Seriously. So makan pun macam normal, kira tak ada special dia lah.
Then baby macam mana? Means you dapat pegang baby?
For a while only. I think I dapat, bila I bersalin, I dah masuk ward, dah tu diorang hantar baby sekejap, and I tak dapat breastfeed my baby. So I feel sedih lah.
Sekejap aja then diorang terus bawa. And where they bring the baby?
Tempat yang babynya tempat lah.
Okay.
So I dah tak boleh jumpa. I think the next day I dah balik. I pun tak dapat jumpa my baby.
So give birth berapa minit je terus you balik prison?
Tak. Stay overnight.
Okay.
Then the next day balik lah.
Asal diorang tak kasih jumpa baby?
I tak dapat breastfeed pun.
Memang prosedur dia gitu lah?
I'm not sure about that. Because for me myself, that is my experience lah. I cuma dapat tengok my baby sekali gitu. Nak menyusukan dia pun tak boleh. So I feel so sad lah bila balik sick bay semula kan. So I feel really damn sad lah. I nak jumpa my anak. Tapi officer cakap tak boleh pasal kita dah nak balik.
Weh, itu sekali Tapi you mentioned that point of time your sister already agreed to jaga. That one your daughter?
Apa dia?
Yang first child ni is boy ke girl?
Girl.
So means that point of time your daughter already agreed, your sister already agreed to jaga your daughter kan? So bila you balik prison tu, then your sister jaga lah. So if let's say your sister tak jaga, baru
bawa
baby balik. You balik prison dengan baby sekali lah.
Yeah.
So berapa lama tu you tak dapat jumpa your daughter?
I think umur dia dah 3 tahun lebih.
Visit?
Visit pun my sister tak bawa dia.
But what was your feeling? What you were going through at the point of time? Bila dah balik prison dengan keadaan sakit, your daughter is not with you. What was in your mind?
Okay lah. Firstly, I feel at that time I felt sad, really sad. And I keep on crying. Lucky I got, masa yang I give birth, there's a few there's a few prisoner also give birth. Tepat kita punya sick bay ramai Julai baby. You know.
Okay.
So dorang give birth and ada yang jaga anak dorang, and masa tu I feel bila I punya anak my sister ambilkan, I tak dapat bersama dengan my anak. I feel so sad. Then I nampak budak-budak lalu depan. So I feel like sedih sangat sedih. But lucky I'm not depressed lah. Cuma at least I ada someone that take care of me lah. Satu, I call her Bibi. She's taking care of me. So I boleh lupakan lah a bit about my my anak. So
Biasa kalau kat luar beranak kan ada orang urut ni semua kan. Prison ada?
okay lah. Ni semua apa tau, sembunyi-sembunyi lah. Jangan
Cap merah punya.
bawa bang punya
Tapi urut pakai apa? Pakai minyak?
krim.
Ada jugalah urut.
Dulu kita ada krim boleh bawa masuk. Family enter in kan. So that time I tak ada visit. Then dorang, my friends ada visit. Dorang ada krim, Olan punya krim. So dorang tolonglah urutkan.
So you mentioned tadi you dapat jumpa you punya daughter 3 years later. Means after you dah keluar lah
Okay,
kira.
I'm not sure. That time I forget lah. My sister ada bawa ke tak bawa, I dah lupa. Terlalu lama kan. Tapi bila I keluar, my sister fetch me dengan my anak semualah. So bila my anak tak nak I kan, pasal dia pun tak kenal I. So I feel so sad lah. Nak tackle dia. Lucky I stay with my sister dengan dia punya mother-in-law semua. Then from there kita very close. I dapat tackle my anak. Then I ambil my anak lah.
So I believe ni bila you kena LT1 dengan ni kan, sentence ni kan.
Yeah.
You of course looking forward to meet your daughter
Yeah.
bila nak keluar ni. And I believe you pun berazam that you're not going to go back into drugs.
Yeah, to be honest, memang I pernah berjanji pada diri I, and I pernah berjanji pada my late grandmother that I won't do it again. Sampai bila I release, my late grandmother show all the letters that I sent to her. So dia kata, ni semua janji-janji kau pada aku. You see. And bila I baca balik, I rasa malu sendiri. I feel like, can't deny that. Bila kita pat dalam, kita punya otak ni dah macam, kita boleh fikir, okay lah, keluar kita tak nak isap lagi. Nak jadi ibu yang baik, jadi anak yang baik. Tapi at the end, I involve again. But sorry. Bila I keluar LT1, I terus kahwin. So I dah dapat my anak tu 3 years plus, and then I pregnant again, and I my urine complete. I hantar urine. LT1 pergi LT2 I lama pat luar 13 years.
13 tahun. Kira you dah build a normal life lah back then.
6 years without drugs.
Okay.
I give birth to my daughter.
Okay.
The third one without drugs lah. I tak
you dah
main
live
drugs.
life normally lah.
Yeah.
Kira dah ada responsibility,
Yeah.
dah ada anak, kahwin, marriage. 6 tahun.
6 tahun I
Apa
clear.
buat you relapse tu?
Okay, I still remember clearly yang after 6 year tu, because I'm very close to my elder sister, right? Like I told you, I rapat dengan my elder sister, dia pun dah kahwin. Dia punya masa tu kita bawa barang tau, my sister semua masa tu bawa barang tempat my house lah. So from there kita 4-4 isap.
Like out of the sudden tiba-tiba your plan nak ambil.
Yeah.
Kenapa? Like dah 6
Tak,
tahun
bukan. Pasal my sister that time dengan dia punya husband bring kan. So kita ingat setakat suka-suka one time lah. Okay, one time dah. Sekali berulang-ulang lagi. Dah rasa sedap dia kan, isap benda ni. So kita keep on lah. Dah continue lah.
Tapi tak rasa macam menyesal ke? Dah 6 tahun je.
I thought isap setakat gitu-gitu boleh tak sampai jadi ketagih. Sekali lama-lama jadi ketagih lah.
Ni
Tapi
masih panas lah.
panas juga.
Panas mesti ketagih.
For me, I more to panas. Even though I dah pernah kena tablet ni semua, but I choose panas. Lain even you letaklah apa-apa depan mata, I still choose panas. Pasal dia
Okay.
punya steam tu macam
Ya.
lain sikit lah, show sikit lah.
Okay. Faham. So 6 tahun then you start to langgar balik. Means
Mhm.
you continue for 7 more years lah. Because you mentioned 13 years later
Yeah.
baru kena tangkan. So
Mhm.
dalam 7 tahun ni you still live life normally, kerja, family.
I'm a housewife. I tak
Hmm.
kerja, I jaga anak-anak je lah.
Hmm.
Then kita empat-empat pernah macam my sister dengan my brother kan, dia cakap okey lah kita semua quit. Then quit by what? I tanya kan. Pasal untuk buang macam gitu susah untuk
Yeah.
kita nak buang macam gitu. Sekali my brother-in-law, I think, kalau tak silap, dia cakap kita boleh buang pakai Subutex. Masa tu 2008 really sana sini Subutex kan.
Hmm.
So I cakap Subutex macam mana nak buang. So my sister cakap betul-betul dia pakai ni Subutex taruh bawah lidah. I try but I cannot. I macam sakit kepala. So diorang cakap pun boleh buat jab kan. Then from there I ambil Subutex, then I jab. Really can apa tahu orang cakap buang ni ketagi. Then I dah buang. But I myself pasal duduk lingkup baru sana black area kan.
Hmm.
So I kenal ramai orang. So I thought Subutex boleh cover kan.
Hmm.
Aku ambil untuk sedap je. So nanti ambil Subutex balik lah. I thought like that. Sekali tak boleh.
Makin teruk ada lah.
Makin teruk.
So sampai kena tangkap 13 years later. You tak rasa macam tu rasa rabak apa. Dah after 13 years tau. Lagi anak you dah besar-besar lah kan that point of time. What was the feeling tu you kena tangkap?
I LT1 ke LT2
Oh ni kena tangkap LT2
yang nak pergi LT2 lah tu. LT2 I think I part rumah my sister. Kita husband my sister. Then okay lah, my first daughter yang buat report. Pasal she want freedom even though I'm a drug addict, but I control dia lah. To be honest, I control dia. I tak nak dia jadi macam I myself. So dia nak ton lah apalah, umur dia dalam 13-14 tahun. But I marah dia. Kita to be honest lah, kita bila dah ketagih kan, kita for me, I myself ada pukul my anak perempuan. Pasal apa tahu, I get to know she smoking, all that. So agaknya dia pun tak dapat kebebasan tu, dia make a report lah. So on that time, first yang datang social worker datang. But after that dia jalan tu CMB datang. CMB datang pecahkan rumah lah. That time my husband, my anak-anak semua dalam rumah. Cuma yang first saja tak ada. So dia report yang I abuse dia. Physical abuse. Whereas no. Pasal tak ada tanda-tanda. And masa tu CMB datang. CMB bawa kita dan anak-anak I semua MSF ambil lah. So yalah.
So kena pergi masuk LT2.
I masuk LT2.
But LT2 sentence berapa lama tu?
7 years.
Waduh. Dah 13 tahun kat luar.
Itulah. So that time I marah sangat dengan my anak, and my anak perempuan yang first. Then my anak lelaki, dia jadi dendam dengan kakak dia. Pasal apa? Because of kakak dia, kita mak bapak dia masuk kan. So that's it lah. I feel like then time LT2 kita kena tangkap, but that time I dapat bail out pasal I pregnant. My fourth one. So I pregnant, but semua dapat bail out lah. And diorang CMB bagi kita syok sekejap je lah. Dia bagi kita semua bail out. Then 2 weeks time kita nak kena report balik. So in 2 weeks time my husband masuk. Then without tinggalkan I apa-apalah. So I stay with my sister. Then after that my sister pun masuk. I and my sister report to cantonment. Then my sister kena angkat. I myself, diorang cakap because I pregnant kan, dia lepaskan I dulu. Tapi I mesti attend court.
Okay.
So when I attend court, I Kira semua dah masuk dalam, tinggal I seorang 4 rumah my sister and dia punya anak lah. But that time I pregnant, I still continue without my husband also, I still continue taking drugs.
Masih langgar juga.
Masih continue pasal that time dah betul-betul dah sakit.
Faham.
So pasal duduk dalam seminggu, I don't think so kita dah betul-betul cure, right?
Yeah.
So lagipun 4 rumah pun masih ada benda.
Yeah.
Apa lagi balik aja terus cari benda tu, continue I sampai sakit lah, sakit.
I mean, I understand it can be very tough.
Hmm.
Because pasal orang yang tak faham akan judge lah. Especially macam dah tahu pregnant, masih nak langgar. Dah pernah kena macam gini, masih nak buat. Because people don't understand the addiction part tau.
Yeah.
Pasal addiction ni macam orang kata is a sickness, right?
Mhm.
We want to come straight to your turning point. Like, bila tu you dapat tu feeling that this is the last time that you are gonna take drugs, and what are the steps that you took untuk you really stop this? Because technically you masih baru keluar tau. Because you are only setahun lebih kan from your 7 sentence ni lah kira kan. But this
Okay.
time around, what makes it different daripada sentence-sentence lama? Macam semangat you dengan perseverance you. Why this time round is much more different?
Okay, the last time ni yang sebelum I keluar, okay, sebenarnya I get a lot of support from my officer part dalam,
Okay.
and especially my OC, Ma'am Lim Lim Hui Juan. So dia selalu guide I apa-apa semua, dia try to nasihatkan I, and I feel kira malu lah dengan dia, and dia cakap kita pun bukan muda lagi. So I pun rasa tersentuh dengan ayat-ayat dia, and yang really made me change lah, to be honest lah, my third daughter.
Your third daughter.
Yeah. When dia datang visit, because dia kecewa dengan I, because that time the PSLE, dia ingat I will be there for her, but I masuk lagi. Then N level, I say I will guide her, but I still masuk lagi. Until that time dia datang, selalunya dia datang dengan bapak dia, but this time dia datang seorang. Dia, kalau setiap dia datang, dia tak nak berbual dengan I bila bapak dia ada. Then one time tu dia datang, dia visit me, and dia cakap, dia luahkan perasaan lah. So from there, because my anak, the third one, dia duduk children's home since dia punya umur 5 tahun. Okay, 5 tahun until umur dia 16 years old. Tu yang dia datang visit me, dia cakap, Mama, dia kena bully ni semua, tempat home ni semua. Please lah Mama, orang lain pun ada. You know, she just want a parent's figure, but she need me more. So from there, I rasa tersentuh dengan apa yang dia cakap lah, and I reflect back. Dulu masa aku kecil-kecil sampai ni sekarang, aku selalu tanya pada diri aku, kenapa aku dibiarkan? You see, dengan keluarga. So dengan keluarga berpisah ni semua, so aku jadi macam gini. But I don't want my children to be that, you know. And I tengok dia menangis ni semua, I balik sel, I termenung lah. I really
Bertekad
orang
lah.
cakap, tanya pada diri sendiri, kau nak ke anak kau macam gitu? Kesian dia, dah berapa lama dia duduk tempat children's home. So for me, from there lah, I start to change. And Alhamdulillah, bila I keluar pergi Hafiz House, right? So one of my friends, Farisha, that time you interview her, she tanya I, Kak, you nak masuk our support group tak, UF? So I say, can. So dia
Ultimate
cakap,
Friends lah.
Ultimate Friends. So I cakap, can. So from there, right, bila I masuk Ultimate Friends, I tengok cara dorang, that is my first time to join the support group. And I feel like, Aslinda ni, dia very concerned, seriously. She's very concerned. And maybe my manager ke, apa ke, ada cakap dengan dia yang I ada masalah. She call me and ask me. So my type, I susah nak kongsi dengan orang. So I did talk to Aslinda. And until now lah, I feel like they are really concerned. And they push me to do sharing, all that. I feel like this time I ada confidence. And I tell my daughter, insyaAllah, my daughter always give me moral support.
Yep.
And I'm happy. and my son also give me moral support. Then I attend the support group Ultimate Friends, and I feel glad lah yang I ada support from them.
Yep.
So even though some of my family members cakap, kau takkan berubah. Ini pasal kau under under camp, kau terpaksa ikut aja. Tapi aku rasa kau takkan berubah. So
Yeah.
I take it as a challenge for me.
Yep.
And I just tell myself, I do it for myself and also my children.
Yep. Because you don't have to prove it to them, you just have to prove it to yourself.
Yeah.
Because you cakap yang you dibesarkan macam no one cares for you,
Yeah.
kan, you dibiarkan. But now you dah nampak the bigger picture di mana your daughters, your children, they really accepted you
Yeah.
for all the things that you have done, apa yang you dah ketinggalan. They are still here. And in fact, your daughter is here with us,
Yeah.
following you. And to me, macam when you brought her, I was a bit concerned. Macam, is it gonna be okay for you to share like life in front of her? I was a bit concerned. But since you mentioned that she knows everything and she still
Yeah.
support and she still give the love towards you, I think ini yang satu kita tak boleh abaikan, satu yang kita jangan take advantage of lah. Which is you went through a lot. You went through a lot. And of course, as a mother kan, mesti kita pun tak nak anak kita lalui apa yang kita dah lalui kan. But before we end this episode, do you have any advice for people out there yang masih struggling with addiction, yang masih rasa that macam, because kadang-kadang benda ni is hawa nafsu, is pucuk pangkal diri sendiri. And do you think that benda macam gini, is prison the only solution untuk orang berubah ke, atau diorang masih boleh berubah without going to prison?
Okay, for me, to send people like this to prison, for us kita punya circle of friends is very small tau. Masa kita main drugs tu tak besar mana pun. So bila kita dihantar ke prison, we learn nothing. To be honest, we learn nothing. And kita punya friend more wider. Kita campur sana, nanti keluar, kita contact sana, contact sini. So makin
Network makin besar lah.
makin besar. So easily can find drugs. Tapi for me, like I say lah, it's not worth kita step into prison. To be honest, there's no changes. And I really hope that, not really hope lah, I just advise like for myself, until I fikir, I banyak rugi lah masa I. Seriously, Pak dalam, I tak dapat merasakan tu enjoyment, merasakan dunia luar tau.
Betul.
I waste my life inside prison and there's nothing I gain. You see, Pak luar macam kita ni drug addict, kerja pun malas. And CPF pun CPF pun tak ada. So I think prison bukan tempatnya untuk you berubah. You can have resources out there. There's a lot resources out there. For me, tak perlu malu lah. Kita just approach, kita tanya kawan, is there any place that you can recommend us to orang cakap sebelum kita pergi jauh lagi, is better to ask your friend, is there any resources that you can turn to. For me, it's better part luar ni kita berubah, bukan part dalam.
Betul. Which is one of the support group they can reach out to is Ultimate
Friends. Seriously.
Yeah.
I think Ultimate Friends, like, okay lah, the founder Azlinda and the co-founder Hairi, they are very sporting and they are very motivated.
Alhamdulillah. Because I think coming from every background guest yang I dengar, I think support tu very important and valuable to you all.
Yeah.
Kita, I mean like, I know some people ada diorang punya pendirian kuat, tapi ada pun pendirian diorang tak kuat and diorang senang kena influence. So if you are the person yang senang kena influence, be influenced by the good people lah.
Yeah, but I think we must be more selective. Selective of your friends.
Of course, of course. But it's a very good sharing. I mean like, it's interesting to know, you know, your journey giving birth, and the heartbreaking thing to hear is your daughter have to go through without you.
Yeah.
And memang benda ni dah tak boleh rewind balik dah.
Yeah.
Masa ni dah terjadi kan. But this is the time. You masih ada masa, you masih ada peluang untuk you reconcile balik, build everything. That's why you can rebuild everything. The love, the loss of time. You can spend as much time as you can,
For
as you
me,
want.
I bukan nak bayar balik yang lepas. I just look forward.
Yeah, yeah.
Because kita tak boleh bayar yang lepas tau.
Yes, betul.
So for now, I'm happy that my child, dia susah nak terima I balik. But it take times lah. And now I feel happy that everywhere I go, she will be with me.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
So there's no one like, you
Yeah,
know.
we're very happy. I mean, she's very supportive. And of course, daripada kita Repeat Podcast, kita wish you all the best to more
Thank you.
greater heights. You know, there will be challenges.
Yeah.
I will always inform my guests, macam bilang my guests lah, that ada ujian lagi akan datang. There's more to it. You just have to be strong and be better in making decisions. Kita tak boleh terlalu ikutkan emotion. Kita tak boleh macam stress saja gini je, patah balik ke dada. It will repeat when back to square one. And we wish you all the best. Semoga you dapat lagi more happiness with your family members. And with that, guys, this episode is sponsored by Your Renoworks. So kalau korang nak renovate rumah, korang boleh pergi kat social media dorang, Your Renoworks, dan boleh pakai promo code REBUILD untuk mendapatkan 10% of hacking dan painting services. So kita akan jumpa lagi di next episode. And with that, settle.